Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here on Northern Life. Hunter McCullough, I'm Ryan Half. Appreciate you joining us. So you'll remember earlier this week we had a whole show talking about my wedding planning. Hunter was asking me questions all about that. Well, today we were inspired by that, but I thought it would be fun to talk all about Hunter's life when it comes to being in a band.
Oh, what do you want to know, man? There's all sorts of stuff. Oh, so many memories and crazy things.
Anything and everything about little Hunter McCullough here on the drums, the man of many talents. Well, I guess we'll start off. You know, the Northwoods Band, obviously a very popular band here in the Northland. Let us take us back to the beginning. How did the band first come together? Who had the idea?
Yeah, so obviously me and Colton have been playing music our whole entire lives, basically. You know, so ever since we were like, I don't know. I mean, we started singing when we were like 4 years old or 5 years old or something like that. So I was originally in a different band with the other fella that was originally in the Northwoods Band.
Gotcha.
And we were called the Lockpicks, and we've been playing in bars since we were 14. Well, the two fellas were older than me, and one fella was moving on to college. The other fella was sticking around, and so we decided that we were going to break up that band. And then Colton, meanwhile, is still in high school, same with me. This is my senior year of high school. And we figured, you know what, let's do this thing, Colton. Do you want to start a band with us? And he's like, yeah. And Colton came up with the name, the Northwoods Band, and the rest is kind of history. So now we just celebrated, I want to say, 13 years this past July, which is pretty crazy.
That is super cool. It's also a very older brother to be like, you know, you're not going to be in my band, little brother, until you're like, well, actually my bandmates left, so maybe I need someone who can play.
But the thing was, back when we originally did the Lockpicks, I was 14 at the time, and Colton, he would have been 12 probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, it wouldn't have worked out way back then. But you know, I mean, I'm happy the way it all worked out, and it's just been an absolute blast.
And when did you realize maybe that you wanted it to be more than just a hobby? Like now, as a working professional, you now basically have another job too.
Dude, ever since probably 6th grade, 5th grade, I mean, like, this is my life. I love music. I love listening to music. I love playing music. I love seeing people watch me play music. I love everything about every part of it. It's just the coolest thing in the world. And I probably since middle school at least, I've been like, this is going to be my life. I love this so much.
And then what were the maybe the rehearsals like, or what were the conversations like as you were putting this band together, and even like trying to get your first gig, for example?
Dude, it's one of those things where you're like, in your mind, you're like, we're good. This is awesome, man. And then you go back and you watch old videos, just like when us on air here, you know? You go back when you originally started, it's like, I have come a long way from when I first started.
Learned a lot.
Yes, learned a lot along the way. We had this cheap sound system that cost us like, I mean, a good sound system over at least a few grand, you know? This one must have cost us $300, $400. We're like, we're sounding good, man. It came with 4 microphones. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And just the amount of learning that we've done along the way has been incredible.
Yeah, and I bet your parents have been a huge support and big help as you go through everything.
The heart and soul of the band are my parents. My mom booking every single gig. My dad and mom, I can count probably on one or now 2 hands just how many times they haven't been at a gig in 13 years. 13 years they've been to almost every single gig. So that's our rock right there, is our parents going to every gig and helping us work everything out 100%.
A lot of miles on the cars, I bet.
Jeez,
and what was the maybe the first instrument that you learned? Because you play a couple. What was the first one that you became comfortable with?
I'm glad it worked out this way, because if it went the other way, it would have been a lot harder, because piano was the first thing that I learned. And this is probably in 2nd grade that my mom forced me to take piano lessons. Same with Colton. We both started out on piano, and I'm like, I don't want to take piano. I don't want to do lessons. But she's like, try it for like a year and see what you like. And we did it, and I fell in love with it. I loved piano. Never practiced. I hated practicing. So I'd show up to rehearsal, or not rehearsal, but the practice the next week, and she'd be like, you know, what did you do?
Did you even look at it?
I'm like, no, I didn't look at anything. So then I ended up quitting lessons like 3 or 4 years in, and just started learning everything kind of more by ear. Same with Colton, with guitar and everything. Most of what we have done is pretty much by ear, but the piano lessons definitely give us the fundamentals of how to do stuff.
I don't think I've ever actually been to a Northwoods Band concert where Colton was on the piano. Could he play if he wanted to?
He can play a few chords. He dabbles in the piano, so he knows that side of it anyway. But you know, is he Billy Joel? I'm not Billy Joel either. So that's just how it goes. You know.
Who's maybe had the biggest influence in these past like decade or so on your music, or who do you look up to?
Are you saying like famous artist or like a local?
Well, it could be anybody. I mean, there are a lot of great local bands too. Maybe you saw someone, you're like, I want to do exactly what they're doing.
One human comes to mind in my immediate mind, which is in 6th grade. There was a new a teacher who came. He wasn't even a band teacher. He was a social studies teacher at the time, Mr. Brian Getton.
Oh.
And he had started this whole, he loved music. He was in bands, he's been doing all this sort of thing. And he started this thing called the Rock and Roll Club at Two Harbors High School. And so it got everybody a chance. He brought his own instruments in. He bought these cheap instruments that we all could, break. We broke everything. And that's where we kind of cut our teeth, is in that class, and then starting to perform on stage, messing up, crying on stage, but learning how to do everything,
Should we dive more into that? What was
Sure,
What was the moment you cried on stage?
I don't think I've ever cried on stage, but like learning, and my parents were also a big part of this too. If you mess up, just laugh about it. You don't have to, some people react to it differently, but if you just laugh about it, they're going to laugh too. It's just going to make it awkward if you sit in it for a minute or whatever. Just laugh and move on. That's gotten me through this whole career.
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty true.
Laugh and move on, man.
That's pretty true. Do you remember like your first big gig, maybe something that you secured and you're like, I'm so excited that we get to do this?
Wow, that's a good one. So, boy, one of them would be going down to Okay, how about this? The first casino gig that we ever did.
That's big.
That was huge. So the man who saw us, Sammy Richter, was up in Ely, Minnesota, and he saw us at this bar. Colton, meanwhile, is 16. I'm 18. And he's like, okay, I want you at Fortune Bay. He books the bands at Fortune Bay Casino. And he's like, but we got to wait a couple years because Colton legally can't be in there playing music.
Geez.
So we had to sit there and wait. We're like so excited. But by 18, a couple years, went to that gig. And I'm like, this is the life right here, playing in the casinos and just having an absolute blast.
Still couldn't drink at the time, but you were able to finally successly step foot inside Fortune Bay.
Then that vice came 3 years later, and that was a different story.
That's when the band, went further down the road.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Well, hey, it's been a lot of fun talking about this. We're going to be talking about this the whole show. Hunter's Life in a Band. Stay close here on Northern Life. Welcome back, everybody. Still joined here by Hunter McCauley. He's not crying. He's still in the seat talking about what it means to be, spend his life in a band with the Northwoods Band. And Hunter, I think it's always just impressive. Like when the weekend comes, I go, my goodness, I'm so happy that I get to go home and watch TV and just relax. And,
yes.
But the fact that you're like, no, when 4:30 rolls around, I got to drive the 2.5 hours to go to my band gig, do the gig for 4 hours, and then go home. So maybe for the folks at home, I mean, I'm glad that everybody gets to see you perform. But what are you feeling like as you prepare for that type of day?
It's a wild day of so I get some ribbing, especially at KQDS, because I always show up late to that every single time I go in, and they're like, you don't do anything. You sit around. You don't. But my life is like you said, extremely busy. Like every single weekend is usually the gigs and everything like that, and not many days you get to just sit down and relax, and it makes time go by really fast. But just preparing for that day, you can't. Hopefully, you can fit in a nap.
Right.
But
important.
Yeah, very important to get your sleep, obviously, and eat right and everything like that. But you can't expound too much energy early on, or else you're not going to have that energy when 2 o'clock in the morning rolls around and you're finishing your gig. So it's a balance that you learn over the years. Another learning curve when it comes to gigs.
And I think every time I go to a Northwoods Band concert, it looks like there's ease. It looks like there's familiarity with the music you're playing. You're obviously rocking out very well.
Yeah.
What's maybe a challenge that you face that necessarily folks who are watching don't understand or see?
Oh, that's a great question as well. Dang. I would probably say one of the things that comes to mind, at least immediately here, is like just remembering all the lyrics is always a tough one.
Yeah.
Which again, that's another thing where if you mess up on stage, you just laugh and you move on.
You just hum along.
Yes, you make fun of yourself and you hum along and you say vowels. Vowels helps you out with that. But all sorts of stuff like that, and just the amount of sweat that comes out of you when you're playing, it's insane. It drips in your eyes and you can't see anything. And it's a very big physical effort to play a gig, especially when it's 4 hours long. And so being in that kind of shape, even though I might not look like I'm in the best of shape, you got to be in some kind of physical shape in order to do that for that long.
Being able to balance a beer on your music stand, probably another challenge.
Very big challenge.
Here's a question for you. Have you ever, maybe due to the how busy you are, or maybe the stress of it all, have you ever thought about hanging up the drumsticks?
There's times, especially maybe like 5 years ago, when like literally every weekend it's 2 gigs or 3 gigs, even through the winter, and it's just like, I don't want this to get to a point where it becomes a job or it becomes a chore and that sort of thing. And so, you know, my mom, she's an amazing momager. We call her the momager. She books all the gigs, and you know, we've had conversations with her, and we're like, maybe we could back off a little bit, and she totally understood. And we're like, let's just, you know, not 2 times a weekend every single weekend. And so it was nice to keep that dialogue open and be able to talk about, you know, our family is very close. So being able to talk about that kind of stuff has really helped quite a bit. I've never thought, though, hang up the whole thing, I'm done with playing gigs.
I think it's kind of cool to think of, like, I imagine talking with my mom, if my mom were my agent or something.
Yes.
What are those conversations like? Do you have to say, like, okay, I'm putting on my Northwoods Band hat, I have to talk about this with you?
Well, for first off, there would not be a band without Mom. She is the one that runs literally everything. She's the best, absolute best. So that really helps out everything. But having those conversations, I mean, it's just like talking to your mom, you know? It's the best. She doesn't have to, like, get angry or mad at us or anything like that. Sometimes she might get a little stern or whatever, but it's the funnest thing ever. They're having a blast, Mom and Dad, me and Colton and Tony and Ike and Dave, everybody in the band, just having an absolute blast. And it's part of it, a huge part, that Mom has figured everything out and planned everything out.
There has to be so many memories, good and bad, I suppose. But what's maybe like the craziest memory that you remember?
There's so many. We've always said we need to write a book at some point and just tell about all the stories. One time up in, a couple things coming to mind up in Ely.
Shout out Ely.
We love Ely up there. Dee's Bar up in Ely. We played there a few times. We were still in high school, and one time a bat came into the actual place, and the bat is flying around everywhere. And Colton and Dennis Pearson, our original member, had to get the bat out because it came through the door, and the stage is right there. So they like used the top of a lid and they like brushed it out. They were able to get it out of the bar. That's just one of the random things that come to mind. There's been fights and things like that too every once in a while. Our dad also operates as kind of the bouncer of gigs sometimes. So there's been random things like that just happen throughout the years. Typical bar scene, typical band stuff.
That bat thing sounds like the scene from The Office where they're trying to get the bat out of Meredith's
the Meredith's head
in the break room.
Gosh.
Here's a question too. Obviously, a lot of great crowds out there. Being able to see everybody just enjoy your music is awesome. How do you know when the music is or is not landing with the audience?
That's what's also a kind of a unique thing with our band is we don't really make set lists. And so I usually am the one in the back, and I'll think of, we usually have a standard set list that we use, but we all kind of gauge the audience and see, maybe this audience is going to like more 60s, 70s music.
Sure.
Or this audience is in a partying mood, let's do 90s and 2000s alternative music, or a mixture of all sorts of stuff. So we've gotten really good at reading the crowd and figuring out what songs we should put in that set list. And what helps us do that is that we don't have a set list. It's malleable. We can add whatever we want, take away whatever we want, which has really helped us as well throughout the years.
Very quickly too, before we head to break, is there a crowd favorite, always a crowd favorite song?
Whole Lot of Love at the end of the night when we do that. We've been doing that for like 10 years now. It's my favorite song that we do. It just gets the audience going.
Chicken Fried?
Oh, also, that's another great one. Oh, so many crowd favorites.
We got more minutes here with Hunter talking about band life coming up on Northern Life. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about fan favorites and Hunter's band songs, of course. Was there a song that you were like, oh my gosh, I didn't think anybody was going to like this song, and all of a sudden you have to play it?
In recent memory, like the thing that comes to my mind of recent is 99 Red Balloons. Do you know that song from the 80s?
Wow.
So there's a newer version that was redone by this band called Goldfinger, and it's more of like a fast-paced like ska type of thing.
Oh, cool.
And so it's one of those things where like people that maybe are from the 80s recognize the song, but then the younger folks that like the fast-paced stuff, they like that too because it's a different take on the song. So like everybody loves that song, 99 Red Balloons.
What is your least favorite part about setting up for a concert?
Okay, the least favorite part of the whole night is always the teardown. Setting up, you're still anticipating, you're like, it's going to be a fun night, I'm super excited, you're kind of riding on the high of getting ready, but then the teardown and everything like that, you're just afterwards, you're sweaty, you're drenched, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is just, it's going to take forever to wrap this up, and it usually does end up taking forever, but you know, it's part of the cost of playing a gig, and it's part of having such an awesome, fun time.
And I'd imagine it'd be like traveling. You're very excited to get on the plane to go to the your
Yes.
destination, and on the way back you're like, this is awful. Just get me home.
Exactly. And half the time, it's 1 or 2 in the morning. It's like, I just want to get to bed. I wish I could just teleport into my bed. And then you got to drive home, like you said. It's a wild time, but it's good. It's all worth it.
Talking about the excitement too for getting ready for a show. What does it feel like to be prepared, or what is that feeling before you start performing for our Northland audiences?
I don't want to say I've ever really been too nervous before gigs. Certain gigs, definitely. But it's never been to the point where it like consumes me,
Sure.
And this helps being in the field that we are. And honestly, being in a band has actually helped me more for this job than the other way around, because of performing in front of audiences and being able to I don't know, talk to people. You
get that immediate feedback from real folks, as opposed to nobody in the studio. It's just you and a camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird just talking to this thing in front of me. It's like no one's responding to me. But what was the original question though? I forget.
I think just like that, describing that feeling of getting ready or feeling anxious or excited before the show.
It's unreal. There's a little bit of anxiety every single gig, but for the most part, it's just like, this is going to be such a great night. And just like anything in life, if you have a positive attitude about anything, it's going to go that much better. So every time I'm just like, this is going to be the best gig ever. Let's do this thing. And it ends up being an awesome gig usually.
How do you think the band has changed you as a person?
Wow, a similar thing where it's like it's made me more outgoing and made me able to talk to people easier. Especially like back when I was a teenager, and I've always been pretty good at talking to people, but just talking to every single walk of life, everything like that, and just I would say it's made me more social over the years, for sure.
I love it. We'll finish things up with Hunter after the break.
Meteorologist Hunter McCullough, only on Northern News Now.
When I think about everyone that lives in our community, we all have a part to play. And the news is an organization that's very important to that. Because at the end of the day, storytelling is about people.
The issues that matter to all of you watching at home matter immensely to us as well, not just because we're journalists, but because we live in this community.
And I think all of us here at Northern News Now just want to make sure that we're being the neighbors that you want to have.
These stories are just as important to us because they matter to the community that we've decided to call home.
Watch Ryan Half, only on Northern News Now.
Coming up tomorrow here on Northern Life, we're going to be remembering our time at Castle Danger Brewery, Hunter's, hometown,
Woo!
Two Harbors. That's because on Saturday they're going to be hosting their golden birthday, celebrating 15 years with a big Saturday bash, and of course the great city of Two Harbors.
Such good beer, good times, of course, this weekend. I can't believe it's been 15 years already.
Yeah, my goodness. And then also, before we go, Hunter, any future shows that folks want to know about?
For sure, this weekend we're going to be doing our Tour Day Wisconsin. Actually, the next couple of times we're going to be doing Wisconsin gigs. So Friday night we're going to be playing at Mel's Lakeshore Place up in Chautauqua. Then Saturday we're at the Ashland County Fair.
Okay.
And then in a couple weeks it's Concert in the Corn.
Yeah.
Doing that, and then that's a Thursday, I believe, and then or Friday, excuse me. And then the Saturday following that, we're playing at Fortune Bay Casino.
I would have to write all of this down. Mom, where are we going?
That's where the momager comes in, Andy, because I barely know what's going on next week.
And very quickly, Hunter, what keeps you coming back?
Oh my gosh, just the excitement of the whole thing, just having a blast playing music in general, and then the people. I mean, the people are so cool. It makes the whole thing worth it and just filled with excitement. It's so much fun.
Super
It's been
cool.
weird talking all about this whole time.
I know. It's kind of cool. I've seen Northwoods Band concerts. I work with Hunter, but I'm like, now I got to go see a show again.
Well, there we go. Let's do it. That sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We love you.
We'll see you later. Have a good one.
Find some time to throw a line, or just head outside to unwind. That's the life in the great Northwoods. Hike or bike, whatever you like. Get out in the day, enjoy the night. Yeah, we got the life in the great Northwoods. Yeah, we got the life in the great Northwoods. Yeah, this is Northern Life.